Happy Monday. Monday, July 6th. July. That's crazy. Can you believe it? Can you believe it's July? Me either. Give everyone a minute to sign on. I realize there's no Facebook event page for my Coffee with Dad anymore, so there's really no warning that it's coming, except that you know that it's coming. I seem to be having connection issues as well this morning, so hopefully we can overcome that and get a good connection. How was everyone's 4th of July weekend? Mary Lynn, good morning. Hello. Mary Jo was here, she would sing good morning to you. Or I would. Or we would sing it together. How you doing? How's your weekend, Mary Lynn? Everyone stay cool. So I ran 11 miles yesterday out in Webster Park / Whiting Road / Gosnell Big Woods trails, and it was hot. Well, it got hot. It wasn't hot to start with, but it got there. It was pretty hot by halfway through it. Yeah, so 11 miles. I did, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Sunday. Yesterday was my oldest son's 20th birthday. 20 years old, my oldest son. My daughter's 24, but can you believe that? It's crazy. I'm getting old. I'm good, Mary Lynn. Thanks for asking. I'm old, apparently, though. My youngest is gonna be 17 in September. Just a couple more months. It's crazy. How is that possible? Anyway, good morning, Sue. Thanks for joining. Hi, Stephanie. Oh, look at all the fine people on with me this morning. Good morning, guys. I think altogether I ended up putting in like 33 miles last week, I think. Did 11 yesterday, 5 the day before that. Yeah, M came out. I ran with M Saturday. She's in the mountains now, but I don't know, you probably don't watch this, but what did I do? I did, oh, I don't know if I could view last week, but anyway, I think it was like 33 miles last week. Yeah. So, and then Friday, Friday, we did, since it was an observed holiday, we went out in the morning, so Friday night trail run was actually Friday morning trail run, and a bunch of us, well, a bunch, or 1, 2, 5 of us maybe, that did Mendon Ponds Friday morning, which I did 8 miles that day. Kendall, good morning. Oh, it is another beautiful morning, isn't it? I was just thinking, it's so funny that you just said that, because I was just thinking this morning about, I remember when I first started doing these, and I had like a range on when I would go outside on the front porch. It was like 40 degrees, anything over 40, and I would go out and do the live feed from the porch, but for the most part I was inside. So it's funny to think of that now, because it's like so warm out all the time. So it's so funny that you say that, because now it's just like gorgeous every day. We could use a little more rain, but whatever. But it's another beautiful sunny morning, and it was gorgeous this whole weekend. I'm trying to get out there and get my runs in before the sun comes up. That was my problem yesterday. It was nice. I started out a little bit later than I wanted to, because with my son's birthday, I needed to decorate the house and do breakfast and everything else. So I got out there, and it was cool to start with, but then once I finished so I go over to Webster Park and do like 4 miles over there first, and then come back over to Whiting Road where the parking lot is and get a little bit of water, and then do Whiting Road and then over to Big Gosnell and back to the car again. And by the time I got back to the car, the sun was coming up and it just was brutally hot. So really just yesterday was a exercise in endurance. It wasn't about pace, it wasn't about, and altogether there was about 1,000 feet. There was 800 and some odd feet of elevation gain through the whole run. So it was a pretty significant challenge physically, but it's funny because you know, I was thinking about similarities between recovery and endurance sports like running or kettlebell or whatever, the things that, you know, aren't just a quick lift and you're done, but take some time to get through. And really, you know, as I was at maybe around 8 miles yesterday, the only thought that kept going through my head is the only thing you need to do is keep going. That's it. It's so simple. It's just as easy as that. That's the only thing you need to do right now. One thing. Keep going. So we tend to overcomplicate things, right, in our minds and make it more than what it is. But really, that's all it is. Just keep going. And that I equate that to a lot of life, right, and especially life in recovery. No matter what's going on, no matter how tired I am, no matter how challenging things get, the only thing I have to do is really easy. Just keep going. Just keep doing what I'm doing and keep going, and things will change. Circumstances will change, right? And the other thing was, yeah, Stephanie, yes, same range, absolutely. Kicked your butt on miles. Well, this week might be even worse, actually, a little bit. So 12 miles this coming weekend. But the weekly run sort of starts to go down. So it's 5, 6, and 4, rest day Friday, 3 miles Saturday. So not a lot of heavy miles during the week, but then 12 miles on Sunday. And then it's a taper week, and then the half marathon is the week after that, which actually it's not going to be, because I'm going to be back in the mountains. So it's going to be the week after that. So yeah, that weekend in the mountains is going to be more than a half marathon. But and Hojack Trail, Kendall, I have not. But another reason why I might not is it reminds me, a lot of it looks like a very flat trail, almost like a road. But I'm definitely gonna do that one because it empties out around North Pond, or it starts over on 250. I've seen, and it goes for a while, and it looks pretty flat. So when it gets cooler and the sun's not beating down as much, I might try that. So maybe we'll make that a Friday night trail run sometime too. So anyways, where was I? Yeah, just the whole endurance factor, the whole keep going. And I did a lot of reading this weekend too. I'm almost through my book, Dr. Gabermate's In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, and it's actually, I'm in the last couple of chapters of it, where he finally gets to the spirituality of addiction and the recovery process, and how important that is to many people, no matter what your pathway of recovery is, the spirituality of it. And it reminds me of the fact that, you know, so much of it is intrinsic, so our motivation can't come from the outside but from inside. And, you know, depending on what you believe, you know, there's an energy or a spirit instilled in each one of us that's divine, right? And he talks a little bit about that search for divinity, and he actually talks about Viktor Frankl's books, and Viktor Frankl, which is an interesting tie-in because I had just read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, which was an amazing book, and I'm going to reread it. It was just that impactful to me. So it was funny to see him reference that in this book. But anyway, he also goes through some additional steps for recovery that I found to be interesting. And so a lot of his he's a doctor, so a lot of his angles on addiction and recovery are, neurological and biological, and there's a lot of science and sciencey stuff in it. But as well, he talks about process addictions and things like that, because he, had confessed to having, some addictions of his own, some obsessions, and he actually wrote a book before the book about addictions. He co-authored a book on OCD, and just drawing a lot of parallels between obsessive compulsive disorder and addictions. But he talks about the 4-step plus 1, the 4 steps, and what does he talk about? So as a way to, so once you get, obviously the chemical hooks and influences out of your body, which not to sort of take anything away from that, how do we then help to rewire our brains? Because our brains are very resilient organs and can regenerate, and we can train our brains to engage healthy pathways. And how do we do that? And he goes through 4 steps of relabel. So when we have addictive thoughts or impulses, how do we label them? Not as being reality, but being, sort of a maladaptive pattern that we've developed in dealing with stressors and things like that. To reattribute those thoughts, to place the blame on our brain and not our moral failing. To refocus, how do we refocus? What do we do with those thoughts and feelings, rather than using or drinking or gambling or whatever the addiction is or the compulsion is? How do we refocus that energy? Revalue was the 4th step, or this step should really be called devalue. He says its purpose is to help you drive into your own thick skull just what has been the real impact of the addiction urge in your life. Disaster. You know this already, and that is why you're engaged in these 4 steps. So revalue, really seeing and taking an inventory, right? Taking an inventory of that. What has that sort of reaction that we've always had? And it's really all 4 steps are really just part of pausing and really being, as he calls it, having compassionate curiosity. So not feeling guilty, not blaming, but just having a compassionate curiosity around our own thoughts and patterns and behaviors, and really sort of taking an honest outside look at it, being an objective witness of why we do what we do. And then he calls it the 4 steps plus 1, because then he says step 5 is recreate. So how do we recreate those behaviors? Refocus is so important. Yes, it really is. So yeah, a really good book, and I'm through most of it. Like I said, I'm in the last couple of chapters. He talks about the spiritual aspects. He wasn't, and he isn't a big 12-step guy. He'd been to a couple of meetings, but again, his admitted addiction was a process addiction. So he didn't necessarily feel an alignment, although he saw value and sees value in 12-step work, and sees that how many people it has helped, and sees the value in it. So it's really interesting, and really just the concurrent theme, being that spiritual theme, making something bigger than ourselves, all right, making something, having that service aspect. And he talks about, that's where he starts to talk about the Viktor Frankl book too, that I find it really interesting, that search for meaning. It's more than just an egoic sort of need to have that reward for helping other people, but it's actually hardwired into our brains to be of service, to help people in need, to be able to give back is not just a reward function, but something deeper than that inside of us, that search for meaning. So I found it to be really interesting. Anyway, yeah, so I did a lot of reading this weekend, which is, if you know me, you know that's pretty, it's like one of my things that things that make me happy. A sunny day sitting out in my lawn, being able to read in the sunshine, which I've had a lot of opportunity to do lately, so I'm really grateful for that. So grateful. But I have rambled on enough. You guys, thank you for joining me today. Again, so many great things going on. You know, our programming, our outdoor programming has restarted as of Saturday. There was a class outdoors and then a hike. Today, I think there was a class this morning at the center, maybe, with Sean and Yana. Tomorrow night, Couch to 5K program is back in person, Seneca Park, 6 o'clock. Come join me. Real easy, super accessible run for everyone to just get out in the park and do a little interval jogging, walking thing. So Couch to 5K starts tomorrow. We have a couple other classes, so check the Facebook page, check the website for all our in-person class schedule, re-engaging this week. We're gonna do some running, some outdoor exercise. Everything's all outdoor. And then of course, our center is still open for people in need of additional support, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday. Stop in. We've always got a couple of folks hanging out there, hanging outside, help us garden, do whatever. Remember that service work I was just talking about? Yeah. Our garden needs help, or needed help. It actually looks a lot better than it did. Yeah, so Tuesday night I'll see you, Friday night I'll see you. Friday night trail run is also going to go out of Seneca Park for this very first week back. So we're trying to keep things in close to the city so everyone can get to it, since we can't offer transportation or carpooling or anything. So let's do that, and then sign up for our 5K happening September 12th and 13th. Join the Strava Run group. I'll put links to all this in the comments afterwards. And then get outside and get moving, because it's so beautiful out. Get outside before it gets too hot and then stay in air conditioning the rest of the day. But anyway, so I will see you guys later. Thanks again for joining me. I love you. Have a great week. Get the miles in. Beat my 33 for last week, and I'll try and beat yours. That's it, man. See you guys. Bye. Peace.